Well, it's been 3 days since the burn. I am down here now, and for the most part, everything has finally burned out. For 24 hours after the burn, I came down here and checked very frequently, and after the first 24 hours, I still had about 10 stump snags that were still down here smoldering, and I had 2 or 3 logs up here above me that were smoldering, and they actually had some visible flames coming off of them. 48 hours came down, and I was down to about 5 stump slash snags that were still burning, and then this one log up here, it was probably I'm going to say 18-20 inches diameter, and it was an entire tree, and it was still burning. I let it keep going. Over the course of the first 48 hours or so, it managed to burn, of that 18 to 20 inch log, it burned about 8 feet of it, just totally burned it up. It was starting to get up into the edge of the field, and yesterday got up, most of everything had been burned out, all these snags and stumps behind me were out. This log up here was still burning. The wind shifted direction, it started blowing toward the house, and it was kind of getting close to some areas that hadn't been burned, so I had to stretch about 300 feet of water hose down here, and I went ahead and put that tree out. As much as I wanted that tree to burn itself and just turn into ash instead of having a large log still laying in the upper edge of the pines, I couldn't risk it. The winds were gusting yesterday at about 12 to 15 miles per hour, and it was blowing toward areas that had not been burned, so I had to go ahead and put that out. I want to say that as I was coming down here to start making this video this morning, it's Saturday morning, as I was coming down here to make this video, a whole group of deer came walking through here. I'm seeing all kinds of songbirds, woodpeckers. The owls have been in here every evening doing their thing. Just heard a turkey gobble back over here. I don't think it was in my burn, but it could have been over in my uncle's burn from the direction it sounded. So a lot of people, when I posted some pictures on social media of this, a lot of people were like, that's so devastating. Look how bleak it is, how sad. I can understand where you would think that initially when you see this, but what I see when I look at this, number one, is the ability to prevent risk of extreme wildfire here on our farm for the next, I'm going to say 2 to 3 years, give or take. We don't know what's going to happen over the next 2 to 3 years. I don't know how many more of these pine trees are going to die, but the fuel load on the floor has mostly been consumed, and it's going to take some time for that to replenish before it can be another severe risk. Now, the hillside and the field, that's always going to grow up in sage grass, and I'm going to have to mow it down, and there's always a risk of somebody throwing a cigarette butt out on the side of the road like has happened in the past, and it catches the ditch line in the field on fire, and you've got to go put that out. I've put out 2 or 3 ditch fires in the past few years because of ignorant smokers throwing their cigarette butt out. So besides that, the other thing I see is the potential here, the potential for life, the potential for new species to come back on. Not new species, but new growth to come on. Things that have been choked out over the years by all of the vines and the weeds and the invasive plants. Now there's potential for pioneer species, the species that return back quickly, to come up and replenish and provide food and nesting habitat and everything for the animals that live in this area, whether it be the birds or the turkeys or the deer or the rabbits or the possums or the raccoons or whatever. This is going to provide lots of opportunity and potential for them. I'm going to keep making videos on the progression of this. We've got a lot of other things we got to get done today, so this is probably going to be it for the burn video here on this channel. I'm going to do a lot more stuff regarding the burn and the recovery and other steps and stages that I'm going through for here over on the outdoor channel, because this is all part of my habitat management, property management series that I'm doing this year. So if you want to check that out, if you want to learn more about what we're doing throughout the rest of the spring here in the burn area, you may want to check that channel out, because there's going to be a lot more content there related to the burn and the recovery effort that's going to take place in that respect. Anyway, thank you so much for coming along. Hope you learned something from this video. Hope you're not so, if you were afraid of controlled burns and wildfires, hopefully you learned something from this video. I've already had several people reach out to me from social media asking for contact information for Tennessee Department of Forestry to schedule burns on their own property because they are concerned about the risk of wildfire and the fuel load on the floor. So if nothing else, I feel like I have reached a few people, shared some information about how beneficial this can be for property management and preservation of property as well. Thank you so much. If you haven't yet, I would ask you to go in, you hit that like and subscribe button. Drop a comment below. Have a blessed day.